Greetings and welcome to the Real Deal Sci-Fi Podcast, bringing you the scoop on all things science fiction, science fact, and everything in between. I am your host, Paulie Sci-Fi, and on this episode, I'll be talking about the Book of Boba Fett. Enough said. Also, NFTs, what are they? Then I will conclude with the Promise of SciFi. What does it really mean? If you like the Real Deal Sci-Fi Podcast, then please subscribe on whatever service you may use. Be sure to join the Discord. Also, go to paulyscifi.com, that's P-A-U-L-Y,
Hey, Paulie.
S-C-I-F-I.com, and sign up for the monthly contest. Stick around. I'll be right back. When I first heard that Disney was buying Star Wars, I was worried. After The Force Awakens, I was hopeful. Then, with the release of the final two movies, I was mortified. The Rise of Skywalker was a debacle of epic proportions, in my opinion. I really thought I was witnessing the end of the Star Wars franchise. The thing that gave me hope was the release of an amazing series on Disney+, The Mandalorian. It wasn't an epic tale, it wasn't grand in its vision. The episodes were great pieces of filmmaking, though, and they caught mine and many others' fancy. It was a good thing that the first episode of The Mandalorian was released before The Rise of Skywalker, or I may have lost all hope. This segment contains spoilers, so if you're not up to date on the Book of Boba Fett, then go catch up, come back, and listen to the rest of the Real Deal Sci-Fi Podcast. Okay, so the best episodes in this series have nothing to do with Boba Fett. And it doesn't matter if that revelation is fair or not, it's a fact. What we're witnessing in this series is some great storytelling thanks to Robert Rodriguez. Episode 6 didn't just have Din Djarin. It didn't just have Ahsoka. Not just Luke and R2. One of the most highly anticipated crossovers from the Clone Wars series was cemented. Cad Bane made his appearance. When I saw that silhouette on the horizon, I knew who it was, and I sat up with a big grin on my face. It had been rumored, and sure, we knew he was coming, but the event itself was something which made me feel like a kid again. Sure, Boba Fett was a cool bounty hunter back in the day, but Cad Bane is a legend in the Star Wars universe. He has battled Jedi and come out on top. He's one of the most ruthless characters from the Clone Wars. His appearance in the Book of Boba Fett bodes well for the rest of the series. If Ahsoka and Bane can make the crossover, then all bets are off as to who may make an appearance. I like the Cobb Vanth character as the Marshal. Timothy Olyphant is one of my favorites. I was sad to see him get shot. But is he dead? It looked like a shoulder hit to me. His deputy is definitely a goner, but as we all know, if you get shot in the shoulder, you're going to make a full recovery. When the episode was over, I was still in wonder. With the introduction of these iconic characters, this series has the possibility to be something amazing. With the final episode of the season fast approaching, I'm hopeful for Star Wars again, and that feels great. Being an artist of sorts, I have been really wondering what an NFT is. I've done the research, and now I know. At least I think I know. It was a daunting task to figure these things out. Like cryptocurrency, NFTs are enigmatic at best, and alien to many. Let me try to clear things up for you. An NFT is a non-fungible token. So there you go. But what does that mean? Non-fungible means it's one of a kind. The Mona Lisa is a non-fungible token. A dollar bill is one of billions, so it's not an NFT. At least that's the example that's going around on the internet. An NFT can be anything that is one of a kind, from music to artwork to articles to website addresses. All of these things can be NFTs, and they have value not necessarily based upon the contents of the item, but what another person believes they're worth, and what that person is willing to pay to own that item. Now, when I say own, I don't really mean own. An example would be if you go buy a physical CD of music. You get the music, but you don't own the music. The purchaser doesn't get the rights to the item unless specified in the smart contract. They do get to say that they indeed own a copy of it, perhaps the only certified copy. The sale of the NFT is information stored on the blockchain, whichever blockchain it's sold on. Ethereum is the most popular at the moment. The information is stored on multiple computers, and it's there forever and can't be changed. If a subsequent sale takes place, then that owner has his ownership indelibly imprinted upon the blockchain. The future of NFTs is foggy at best, and the present is opaque. Why would one want to buy these digital items with digital currency? One reason is to support the artists that make them. At one time, there were patrons who would fund artists like Rembrandt, Da Vinci, Mozart. Now we rely on crowdsourcing and Patreon. Artists shouldn't need to starve for their art, and any way to pay them for their work is a plus in my book. The blockchain and Web 3.0 are the future, and NFTs are set to play a role in that somehow. In what way? I'm not yet sure. But I am sure that over time it will become more clear where this technology and this new way of doing business will take us. Perhaps in the future, if your computer is in contact with the blockchain and you have a JPEG on your computer that you don't own, meaning it's not written on the blockchain, it will be deleted. If you have a song you downloaded from a torrent site that you don't own according to the blockchain, it will be automatically deleted from your computer by a roaming AI. It may be a stretch to think that that may be the case. I don't know what the future holds for NFTs, but I do know that I'm going to be doing a lot more research in order to understand it further. I have always been a science fiction fan. One of my earliest memories was going to the theater to see Episode 4, A New Hope. I didn't get to see it that night. The line was around the block, and that made for a very sad poly-sci-fi. There are movies that stand out in my mind. Those movies which are iconic and spoke of in reverence by all the old nerds. Movies like Tron, War Games, and The Last Starfighter. Sure, now they're dated and wouldn't hold up to scrutiny, but they are the beginnings of this great genre which encompasses and collides with many more. What really gives me hope are the ideas in science fiction. Being more inclusive, the thought that one day humanity will be able to look beyond our biases and prejudices, then we can move into a shared future. One day we could travel amongst the stars and find passageways to other dimensions that have been hidden in plain sight. Science fiction is not just about fanciful tales for me. They're a roadmap of where our species could go. Science fiction often leads to science fact, and that does bode well for us. But we are inherently self-destructive, and that nature may be the demise of us all. There are also science fiction films and shows which present our downfall. The idea that we are somehow immune to a planetary disaster is naive. The sci-fi disaster films often have the protagonist winning in the end and a unifying message for us all. Is that really the way it would be? Could we pull together if there was a real threat to our collective existence, or would we be living a real life don't look up? It seems as though right now we have an opportunity to reach for a future which could herald a new dawn for humanity, and science fiction gives me that hope. It may not be realistic, but it's what keeps me going. Sometimes, that's all it takes. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Real Deal Sci-Fi Podcast. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, please follow on whatever podcast service you are using. You can join the Discord to continue the conversation. Also, go to paulysci-fi.com. That's P-A-U-L-Y.
Hey, Paulie.
SCIFI.com and sign up for the monthly contest. That's all for this episode. Please join me next time for more of The Real Deal.